So, you guys want to get into drone flying? Great idea. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's an absolutely incredible hobby. You get to see things from a bird's eye view. But drones can be very, very expensive. And what do we do when tech is expensive? We turn to the tech that was new 2 years ago, or maybe a year ago. Point is, it might be a little bit older, but it's still incredible tech. That's the good thing about tech though. Even though tech might still be good, after a few years, it gets a lot cheaper. So, we're going to do the same thing with drones. We are going to turn to the original Mavic Pro, which I personally own, and the DJI Phantom 4, which I have the great pleasure of having for a day to test it out because of work reasons. So let's start off with the cameras, because of course that is one of the things DJI is known for doing incredibly well. Both these drones can shoot at a quality of cinema 4K at 24 frames per second or standard 4K at 30 FPS, which is my mode of choice. Both of them can take a max microSD card of 128 gigabytes, but all the microSD cards you put into these things need to be class 10 U1 microSD cards. If you choose a worse microSD card, chances are your video files might get corrupt or something will go wrong. These are super powerful devices and therefore require super powerful microSD cards. Both of these take raw images, which means you can later on post-edit them in Photoshop or any DMG editor of your choice, and both of them can shoot a time-lapse. So here is the original DJI Mavic Pro. It's the tiny little thing, and I bought it mainly for its portability. The DJI Mavic Pro comes in at a weight of 734 grams, which isn't a lot, and in fact that is less than a kilogram, so you won't even have to register it in most countries. The max flight time on this thing, with little to no wind, is 27 minutes. Now I can confirm that is in fact the case, and even when it is a little bit more windy, this thing flies for me for about 25 minutes. 25 minutes is usually the average flying time I get on this thing. The max hovering time is only 24 minutes, and you might think to yourself, why? How is that? Well, that's because the drone is using more power to stay in one spot and concentrating on that one single spot. The DJI Mavic Pro can travel a distance of 13 kilometers, and its max speed in sports mode is 65 kilometers per hour, which is really goddamn fast. Of course, it has your favorite visioning system that will warn you when somebody is in front of it so that you can't fly into their face, unfortunately, and your downward visioning system, which is how the drone knows what it's landing on. The battery size is 2,970 milliamp hours, which will not sound very large compared to the DJI Phantom 4 battery, but the flight time is still incredibly well. What you have to take into account here is the size difference between the two. The camera sensor on the DJI Mavic Pro, God, I don't know how to pronounce it, 1 and 2.3 inch CMOS sensor, and has a total of 12.35 megapixels, which again doesn't sound like a lot when phones are now coming out with 48, but it is actually completely enough to record that smooth, crisp 4K footage. And the FOV on that sensor is 78.8 degrees at 26 millimeters. The battery life is still pretty damn good. Even after having it for about 2 years, the battery life hasn't degraded that much. After all, these are intelligent batteries, and they will prevent things such as discharge, etc. That is our original Mavic Pro. And then on the other hand, we have the big boy. The big boy that I had the chance of flying today. And let me tell you, there were a few key differences in flying this big beast and flying that little thing there. They are both absolutely incredible, but hopefully today I help you choose the right one for you. So this thing has a few additional features, of course, because it's absolutely huge and massive. So let's talk about those right now. The Phantom 4 weighs a total of 1.38 kg, which is a lot more than the DJI Mavic Pro. The max flight time on it, however, is actually longer. It's a total of 28 minutes, and this is because of the larger battery, of course, and the fact that those blades are so big. Because of that, it can stay in the air for longer because it takes less effort for it to position itself properly. The max transmission distance on it, however, is a lot smaller at 5 kilometers, and this is actually what I have found to be the case. When I tried flying out further, it started losing signal, and I personally find that a problem because I like to fly really far away from my controller. The max sports mode speed on this thing is a total of 72 kilometers per hour, which is actually faster than the DJI Mavic Pro, and later on I will be telling you guys that I actually prefer the Mavic Pro for sports mode, and that is simply because I'm really scared of flying this huge thing in sports mode, especially since the stopping distance is a lot longer when you're flying faster. Again, this one has the visioning system in the front and down below for the exact same reasons as the Mavic Mavic Pro, and the battery size on it is 6000 milliamp hours. The sensor here has the exact same size at 1 and 2.3 inches CMOS at 12.4 megapixels, and the FOV on this one is actually larger, coming in at 94 degrees and 20 millimeters. Now, because this thing is so big, it's also going to do better in the wind. Now, technically, you might think it's bigger, more surface area. Shouldn't the wind hit it and blow it away? Well, look at these blades. These blades are about the size of my head. This is no joke, honestly. These blades are going to help this thing maneuver itself in the wind really, really well. And with this gimbal, you should have no problem getting that beautiful, stable footage that you love. Now, the DJI Mavic Pro is probably the king of portable drones. Of course, with the DJI Mavic Pro 2, that is probably the king now, but again, we're leaving that out of the equation because it's too expensive and I'm too poor for that. And if you guys are watching this video, you probably don't want to pay the price for that either. So going back to this can actually fit in your pocket. Now, of course, that might be a little bit of an overestimation, but I'm pretty sure that's what they did on the keynote. While with the DJI Phantom 4, you need a massive carrying case, with this thing, all you need is a little case like this. This is actually what I took the DJI Mavic Pro in to Poland, and this is all you need for a powerful beast like the DJI Mavic Pro. This is actually what I have been carrying it around in when I went to Luxembourg, when I went to Poland, and look how tiny it is. Look how small it is. You would have absolutely no issue fitting this into your baggage when flying places. And the same thing goes for the controller. The controller for the DJI Mavic Pro folds up like the entire drone, and it becomes this tiny little compact beast that you can fit into your pocket. Now, this one does actually fit into your pocket. Now, there is one key problem that I see with using the DJI Mavic Pro controller over the DJI Phantom 4 controller, and that is I can't throw my big boy iPad into the DJI Mavic Pro controller unless I 3D print a bracket or something, while in this you will have no problem because of its adjustable holder. You like that, don't you? On the controllers themselves, you have a bunch of different buttons. So on the DJI Phantom 4, this is what the controller looks like close up. On the left, you have your first dial. Now this dial will be used for tilting the gimbal up or down. Then next to that, you have your record button, which when pressed will start recording. Then you have your mode switch. The P option stands for position, the S mode stands for sports mode, and the A mode stands for attitude. Then of course you have your two really large antennas that you need to put in the right position in order to not block signal. On the right hand side, you have your wheel that you can make do anything you want. I have this set for adjusting my white balance. Then you have a programmable button, and you have what I believe is the pause button or the picture button. I'm going to have to Google that. I'm not entirely sure. Usually when I'm flying my DJI drones, I just use the controls on the screen because they're right here and they're much easier for me to use. Now on the front, you probably have your two most important buttons. You have your power on button, which when you press and hold, turns on the controller, and you have your return to home button, which you probably will be using a lot more than you think, especially if you have an Android phone, because the DJI Go 4 app is still not very good on Android phones. And at the back of the controller, you have your USB port and your micro USB port. I'm not sure what this is. I'm such a bad reviewer. And then at the back of the controller, you have two programmable buttons that you can program to do whatever you want. Now moving on to the DJI Mavic Pro controller. On it, your two flaps fold out like this, and they house your smartphone. The cable got me confused the second I got it because I had no clue how to charge the controller. Turns out you plug the charger in, and in the exact same place you plug the micro USB cable in. But I really like the fact that it is incredibly compact and it has a lot of adjustable buttons, so let's take a look at that. Again, your left wheel here will change the tilt of your gimbal, and then you have your record button, you have your foldable antennas, then you have your picture button on the right hand side, you have another wheel that I use for adjusting white balance, then you have your pause button down the left hand side, you have your little joystick, which is actually completely programmable, and I love this thing because I have it set to tilt my gimbal up and down instantly, and you have a complete and utter plethora of options you can choose from. And then of course you have your joysticks to control the drone. Then at the bottom of the controller you have your USB port in case you did want to plug in an iPad, and at the back of this controller you also have those two buttons at the back that you can program to do anything you like. And then of course on the right hand side of the controller you have your sports mode, which I absolutely love flying in, by the way. The speed is absolutely great. Now the one key difference you will also notice is that the DJI Mavic Pro controller has a screen that will tell you all the most important things you need to know about your drone, including satellites, battery life, things like that. You could essentially fly this without a phone. Flying the DJI Phantom 4 without phone or an iPad would be very, very hard. Okay, so let's talk about what you guys came here for. First of all, let's talk about stability. Stability? Both of these drones have absolutely incredible stability. They have GPS lock and they tell you when they're in ATTI mode, which is without GPS, and when they are in GPS. They make that very, very clear in the app. So because these two drones have the GPS lock, they're both going to be incredibly stable. Now today was a pretty windy day. We had about 40 km/h winds, and I decided to push these things up into the sky just a little bit next to each other. Of course, I couldn't do it too far because it was pretty windy and I did not want them to hit each other. That would not be a good thing, especially since this one isn't mine. But as you can see, they were both extremely stable, and that is actually what I have found. The footage on these two is absolutely incredibly stable, very crisp, very stable, and both of these can actually do 4K 30, which is great because I don't record in anything lower than 4K, as you guys may know. So having that option of recording in 4K 30 is absolutely great. You get that crisp footage if you have something to open it on. I don't actually own any 4K TV and I record in 4K. Okay, good. The colors are very, very good, and if you're doing this professionally, you can always change that in post. I'm now going to play you a sample clip of both the drones. So here you can see the DJI Phantom 4. Now I don't have a lot of scenic views outside my window, so I just flew to the local construction site. As you can see, the details are very, very crisp, very, very good. I can zoom in, I don't lose much on quality. You can see all the bars in the construction site, all the little details are preserved. It's really, really good. The DJI Mavic Pro, on the other hand, is the exact same. Now, this could just be me, but I cannot see a difference. Now, you might call me blind because I wear glasses, which, okay, sure, thanks. But I cannot see the difference between the two. I can zoom in on the DJI Mavic Pro and I get the exact same results that I get on the DJI Phantom 4. These two cameras are either very similar or the exact same. Now, you camera nerds out there will tell me how wrong I am, but what I'm trying to get across here is you're not really choosing between camera quality when you go against these two. What you're choosing against is better maneuverability in the wind on the DJI Phantom 4 or compactability on the DJI Mavic Pro, because both of these have insane footage and you will not regret buying any of these when you're buying your first DJI drone. Now, a lot of you will want to know my personal opinion, and my personal opinion is I love the DJI Mavic Pro. Because I do a lot of traveling, because where I live there isn't a lot of scenic views, I love the fact that I can just pack this little thing up inside my little case and bring it with me anywhere without any issues. While with the DJI Phantom 4, sure, it's better in the wind, which means it's probably better for Ireland because it's extremely windy here, but it's going to be much harder to take around with you. Of course, if you do need that better maneuverability, that slightly bit more stable shot, the DJI Phantom 4 is probably the choice for you. If you want to have fun in sports mode, be able to take your drone to places where you might not exactly be able to take the DJI Phantom 4, the original DJI Mavic Pro is still an incredible option in 2020. I would recommend both of these if you are trying to buy a DJI drone in 2020 to try out for your first DJI drone. Those are the two defining factors between the two. You either go for maneuverability or compactability, and I keep repeating myself because this is the message I want to get across to you guys. Now, please let me know which one you guys would choose down in the comments section below, or which one you have, and what incredible shots you have shot with it, because I want to know. I absolutely love drone photography, so if you guys have anything you want to share with me, join the Discord and let me know there. If you guys liked the video, make sure to give it a like. If you guys disliked it, I guess this button works as well, but make sure to tell me why in the comments section below. If you guys aren't part of the 360p gang yet, where the 4K quality doesn't matter because we love 360p, make sure to smack that notification bell with your forehead along with the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything and it helps the channel out a lot. Join our Reddit where I want to see your spicy memes being posted so that I can review them someday. If you guys like this video and you want to see future videos that are coming up on the channel daily, make sure to smack that subscribe button with your forehead, ding my bell, and see you again in the next one. Peace.